Now we learned all about variables, our storage boxes, and the different types of data we can put in them. Strings for text integers, and floats for numbers, and booleans for true or false. And then we've mastered the art of storing information inside our program. But let's be honest, so far our programs have been a bit of a monologue, right? We the programmers write the code, we set the variables, and the program just spits it out back out. So it's like talking to a wall that can only repeat what you've written to it. Right? What if we could turn the monologue into a dialogue? What if we could ask the user questions and have our programs respond to their answers? So now we're going to give our program a voice and a pair of ears. We're going to be taking user input. First, the input function gives our program ears. So we've already know the mouth of our program, which is the print function. It talks. Now let's meet the ears, the input function. The input function does two things for us. It displays a message on the screen as a prompt asking the user for information, and then pauses the entire program and waits. So it listens for the user to type something and then press enter key. So whatever the user types, the input function catches it and then gives it back to our program so that we can actually use it. And where do you think we're going to store the information it catches? We're going to store it in variables, right? So let's see this in action. I'm going to create a new file called greeter, still in the same directory. So we can just say new item, and then we can call it greeter.py. So the first thing, maybe we're going to ask the user for their username or for their name, and we store it in the variable. Now we're going to say user name input, and then we can just say something like hello, what is your name? Now we're just gonna say print and then f. It's so nice to meet you. So here's a prompt. Look at the terminal. So it's showing our message, hello, what is your name? And it's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. There's with a blinking cursor. It's waiting. Our program is paused. It's listening. Okay, so I'm going to type my name and then press enter. Then it says, it's so nice to meet you, Osimanga. And boom, the program continues. So it's my input. It stores it in the username variable. So it took my input and stored it in the username variable, and then the print function used it to say, it's so nice to meet you, Simanga. So this is a huge step. So our program is now interactive. Now, an important rule to the input string trap. Now, there is a very important rule that you need to learn about the input. It's something that trips up almost every new programmer. The input function always gives you back a string. Always, every single time, even if the user types in a number, Python sees it as text characters, not a numerical value. Let me show you why this is important. Let me make a simple program that asks for your age and then tells you how old you are on your next birthday. So I'm just going to make a new file. Let's just call it age calculator. Age calculator. I'm going to ask the user for the age. How old are you? Then I'm just gonna try to add 1 to their age next year, age plus 1, and then we're gonna print the birthday next year. So print Now logically this should work. Let's actually run it. So I'm just gonna run it. Age calculator. How old are you? I'm just gonna type it 28, and then so now we're getting an error. All right, we actually getting an error. There's a big error message that appears. So don't panic when you see an error. It's not a failure, it's a clue. So this type error is one of the most common errors that you'll see. It says can only concatenate. You will see that it says can only concatenate, not integer to a string. In plain English, Python is telling us you try to add text and a number, integer, and I don't know how to do that. You see? So it's because when I type 28, the input function gave our program the string 28, meaning it put it on the quotation, not the number 28. So our code was trying to do a quoted 28 plus 1, which is like trying to add the word apple to a number 5. It doesn't make sense. So the solution is to use what we call a type conversion tools. So how do we solve this? We need a way to convert the string into an integer 28. Likely Python gives us the tools to do that. So they are called int, float, and string. So back in our age calculator, so what we need to do here, age as in, we need to convert that age. So we can just say age as integer, and then we just gonna say int, and then we pass and then here we're still keeping the same thing. So now let's run it again. So to run it again, I'm just gonna press the up arrow just to recall the last command that I actually ran, and then I'm gonna type 28 again. I'm still getting the same error. Oh, here we must actually not age the converted one. That's why it gave me the same error. So it must be the age as integer. Okay, plus 1. Now if we actually run this again, then I type 28, then it says on your next birthday you'll be 29 years old. All right. Now the program is efficient, so we often combine these steps into one line. So now to combine one line, instead of writing so many lines, what we could do, we can just say int somewhere here. We can just wrap this around the int like this. All right, something like that. You see what I'm doing, and then remove this one. Okay, I'm gonna comment it out, and then here I'm just gonna say age plus 1. So you see now that I remove this one just to make sure that I don't have many lines of code. So I can actually run this again. How old are you? I say 28, and then it's still working fine. On your next birthday you will be 29 years old. So here the input function runs first. It gets the string from the user and then immediately hands it over to the int to be converted. So it works as before, or before it gets stored to the age variable. All right, so this is a massive step that we've learned. We did wonderful today. You can now have a two-way conversation with your programs, so this opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Next time we'll be learning about basic mathematics and some cool magic tricks that we can do with strings.